We are diving back into another vintage cube. I hope you like watching these. I sure love playing and then sharing them with you. Diving into this pack one, pick one, Grim Monolith, fast mana, gotta take it. Don't see any other power in this pack. Other considerations is for maybe a Bloodstained Mire for fixing. Cryptic Command's already strong. Looking at what else is in the pack though, there's a Sulfuric Vortex and not a lot of other red cards. So we could decide to just really dive in on red, but Sulfuric Vortex is really speculative pick. If there's any other red drafters at this table, we're just gonna be fighting for cards. So I'd rather do something open like Grim Monolith, which will work in a lot more decks, and then see what gets passed to us. So we'll start on some Brown Town here. Pack 2, a lot of different ways we can go again. Polluted Delta, Steam Vents, Tundra, some good lands coming around. There's also an upheaval. After a first pick Grim Monolith, maybe we want to do the big artifact thing. That deck is not super successful. It kind of relies on drawing the right part of your deck at the right time, so it can be a bit inconsistent, but let's take the upheaval here. Upheaval is also just a great answer to getting out of some problematic situations, so we'll slide it in and see what's in pack 3. For blue cards, there's Glenelendra. I'm not a Storm player, so not going to take Mind's Desire, but then there's Chandra, just one of my favorite planeswalkers in the cube, and being able to ramp out a Chandra is super sweet. So we'll take Chandra again, still not solidifying into any direction here. Pack 4, there's a Vampiric Tutor, which I think I kind of want to take. Staying very open, just kind of taking the strongest cards in these first few packs. That way we can dive into whatever archetype we think is open that is being passed to us. Well, after a Grim Monolith and a Chandra, Upheaval, Vamp, I mean, there's a Mindslaver. Mindslaver is very fun to ramp into. And there's also a Firebolt as well if maybe we want to go more Grixis control type route. But you know, I haven't played with a Mindslaver at all this season, and sometimes just resolving Mindslaver is enough to just win games on its own. It can be very fun just trying to navigate a sweet victory by mind-slavering your opponent and then just torching their game plan. We can ruin some other people's day here and pick up a Mindslaver. All right, here for pick 6. Cards that could work for our archetypes. We could take a Kadoltha Forge Master and just solidify into artifacts. There's also an Everflowing Chalice if we want to be less committal to artifacts, but just take some more artifact ramp. Then there's something like Frantic Search or Faithless Looting, also good, filter cards. And then lastly, there's an Emrakul. Emrakul is just like a fun top end that if you cast, you can usually win the game because you get to take your opponent's turn for them. And maybe we can just do like take your opponent's turn tribal with Mindslaver and Emrakul, and that sounds super fun. And then here's a Chromox that can help us just ramp more, though Chromox doesn't work great in artifact deck because you can't discard artifacts to it. We'll take a Dark Ritual here and really just solidifying into some ramp. Looks like black and then either red or blue as our other color. And all those colors work well with an artifact sub-theme. There's that Sulfuric Vortex coming around. Don't really want that right now. There's a Rafine's Tower for some fixing. That's probably the only card. Or there's a Burgee. You know what? Let's take Burgee because the Horn of Bounty on the other side can be some great card selection, and this also plays into that artifact sub-theme. Tangle Wire, Coercive Portal, and Ritual. Yeah, I think Portal is the way we want to go here. Just try to draw some more cards. Definitely don't need Tangle Wire. We're not aggressive enough yet for that. And in this pack, not really anything for us. I guess maybe a Shallow Grave, but we're not really doing that. Kind of some misses here. Underworld Breach. We're really just rounding out pack 1. I guess we can take the other Ritual. Ooh, Forge Master did wheel. See, Forge Master wheeling means artifacts is probably open. So that makes me feel a little more committal here into artifacts. Okay, so pack 1, we've got a little bit of an artifact thing going here. Not sure if we're going to still be black, red, or blue. Here, this first pick in pack 2, Gilded Lotus, we can just slam. I'm excited to get that. That'll help us just cast all of our cards. It's pretty suspect to removal. If you get Pest Infestation cast against a Gilded Lotus, that feels pretty bad. But, ooh, and here's a Mana Crypt as well. Yeah, Mana Crypt, get in the deck. Fast mana is where it's at. Turn 1, Mana Crypt, and then Grim Monolith. That seems pretty good. All right, what else do we got going on here? There's a Watery Grave if we want to splash the blue. I guess we could take a REB Or there's a Grave Titan. Grave Titan's also pretty strong. REB is a good sideboard card, but maybe we just take Grave Titan and we can just ramp into a quick Titan. I'm not really sure. None of these cards are really like feeling like our strategy. Snuff Out's pretty safe. Snuff Out's a safe pick. Here in this pack, again, not getting a clear card for this type of a deck we're drafting. I mean, I guess there's like Smokestack or Braids, but we're not really a Smokestack or Braids deck. I mean, Smokestack's an artifact. I don't know. I'm kind of waffling here, trying to solidify. I mean, you could probably just take a Gilded Drake or something if we want to maybe play the blue. This draft's kind of difficult to navigate here to figure out what lane we should be in. Batterskull seems okay. Other than that, there's Amizium Mortars if we want to just get some more removal, and that probably feels a little safer. Ooh, and there's a Sundering Titan and a Hangerback Walker. I kind of want both of those. I think the Sundering Titan's a little stronger, so we'll pick that up. Okay, here's the decision. Metalworker is very, very good in an artifact deck, but it's also hard to pull off. I think a Braid's just a better card. A Braid's just a very good answer. Like if a Jite hits the board, I'm going to rather have this a Braid than a Metalworker. Right now, this draft is kind of a mess, but here's a Magda. Magda is an amazing 2-drop. Creating treasure tokens, especially in a deck here with multiple colors, is exactly what we want. And then there's a Through the Breach. Through the Breach could work pretty well with cards like Sundering Titan. Emrakul, not so much because we don't cast it, but it's a possibility. Maybe we're shaping up into like a big kind of Eldrazi sneak deck here with a card like Through the Breach and all this mana ramp. Give us a couple ways to cast those Titans. There's an artifact. Maybe if we get a Tinker, we can tinker out some of this stuff. We can still play blue, though not seeing a lot of blue cards come around. There's that REB coming around, Red Elemental Blast, which is another fine sideboard card. Other options for Dam if we want some removal, but I'll take an REB. And the only way to test out a card is to try it. There's a Smokestack and a Necromancy. I don't know if either of these are going to make the deck. I really don't know if we're playing a card like Smokestack or Cabal Minion. Oh, the Hangerback Wield as well. All right, sweet. So we got both the Hangerback and the Sundering Titan. I like it. All right, last pack. We really need to solidify into something here. Right now, the deck is looking a little messy, but you know, pack 3. It's where we all make it come together. So pack 3, Karn is an option here if we want to ramp into a Karn. There's also a Blightsteel, but I'm not super interested in Blightsteel. I mean, it's an okay card. Maybe it'll probably wheel as well. So we'll take Karn. Karn can mess with some opponents pretty well. Here's a Gonti. I think that's the only card in here for us. Gonti's fine. I mean, Gonti's a great black card. It's just not fitting in with our theme here, which is like a black-red artifacts. I don't think this upheaval is going to be making the deck. I'm not even sure if black-red artifacts is even like a real archetype. I know red and artifacts go together because there's cards like Goblin Welder in the cube. So we'll keep our eye out for something like that. There's a Time Walk, but there's also a Mishra's Factory. So we're going to have to pass power here. A couple people have passed that. We'll definitely take the Mishra's though. Mishra's going to work a lot better out in our deck. And we won't try to do anything crazy like splash a Time Walk randomly. That was like a pick 3 Time Walk in the 3rd pack. Okay, there's a Sneak Attack and a Duress and a Colligan's Command. But I think, and a Grizzlebrand, but I'm not really looking at that. So I think Duress is probably the most important card here. Maybe the Colligan's Command. Maybe we should have just taken the Sneak Attack. When it comes to those kind of cards, I really hope that they wheel. You know, here's another example. There's a Goblin Welder, but then there's also a Worn Power Stone. So I think both of these cards can be in our deck. Goblin Welder is probably more important though. So I think we take the Welder and maybe the Worn Power Stone will wheel around. Okay, we've definitely fallen into an archetype here. Black-red artifacts. If it wasn't an archetype on MTGO Vintage Cube before, it is now. There's a Dismember and an Infernal Grasp. I think Infernal Grasp is a little bit better in this situation as it'll just destroy anything. So if there's a creature bigger than a 5/5, Infernal Grasp will do the work. And then there's an Ulamog and an Inferno Titan. There's also a Memory Jar. Let's just take the Ulamog and think we have the Through the Breach there in the sideboard. And we'll need to bring that back in. Ooh, there's an Emrakul. I mean, we should just go all in here and just get the biggest Titan of them all. Eldrazi Titan. All right, Emrakul, we'll get in the deck. There's a Blightsteel. Yeah, so we got all the big fatties. The question is, how do we get them into play? I don't think we're ramping them there all the time. Vampire Hexmage, yeah, again to the sideboard. So yeah, sneak attack coming around. It's actually really lucky that that happened. And then we have a Through the Breach in the sideboard. I don't think we're not going to play any of these cards. Definitely not playing Goblin Bombardment. Memory Jar 15th pick is actually super, super clutch. Okay, let's build this thing. All right, here's how our red-black artifacts deck ended up. We have Goblin Welder paired with MINDSLAVER, a bunch of ramp for some top end, and then we got a sneak attack hanging out as another way to get things like Ulamog, Emrakul, and Sundering Titan into play. Now, I did leave a Through the Breach in the sideboard, which may be a mistake in this opening 40, but we can always bring it in if we feel like it. So we're going to jump into our feature match, which is an incredible game with our opponent running cards like Emrakul themselves and Black Lotus. So strap in. These are going to be some great games, and I hope you enjoy. All right, we're in the feature match. Game 1, we are on the play. And this hand, I think, has to go to the cat. There was just no red mana. This second hand is worse, maybe? Vampiric Tutor makes this so close because we could go get sneak attack, and then we just got to live long enough to sneak attack this Emrakul in. Maybe we'll draw our Mana Crypt or something. Okay, this is probably a super loose keep, but that's what's happening. So we'll lead off with Vampiric Tutor here during our opponent's end step. Let's see what they lead off on. All right, so Forest into Gitaxian Probe. They know what an awful Magic player we are by the type of hand that we kept. That's embarrassing. Gitaxian Probe is so embarrassing when you're playing poorly. So now we just got to own it. Let's vamp and go get our sneak attack, kind of like we planned on. I mean, that's why we kept this hand. And sneak attack off the top here, and then we'll just play a mountain, and we're just going to have to pass. And hopefully, you know, I mean, if we draw Mana Crypt next turn, it's going to be awesome. All right, Swamp into Wall of Roots for our opponent. I'm fine as long as they have less than 6 permanents. We draw another Swamp off the top, and we'll just play that, our second mountain, and pass. Hopefully we don't get natural ordered or something here. Okay, so our opponent just plays a land and passes as well. We draw MINDSLAVER. Because we're playing against green, I'm going to hold this sneak attack in hand, as I don't want to expose it to artifact and enchantment removal, which green runs in abundance. Have you heard of Pest Infestation? Yeah. Watch out for that card. All right, Manamorphose into blue mana for our opponent. Blue and black. Then they play a fetch land, Verdant Catacombs. And then they just pass. Okay, so they whiffed on their Manamorphose. I wonder what they're trying to get done here. But we have 5 lands now. We're going to play Sneak Attack, leave a red mana up, and Emrakul coming at you. Now, our opponent's at 18, so they will not die from this, but they're going to have no permanents on the battlefield. They had to know this was coming. Annihilator 6. That'll get you. So they're not dead, but they're now at 3. And we have Coercive Portal and MINDSLAVER in hand, which is pretty nice. And our Emrakul just gets shuffled back in, which is also pretty nice. Okay, Black Lotus is a good recovery from Emrakul. They sack it for 3 green, putting Dryad of the Elysian Grove. And if they have lands in hand, they got 1. They play a forest. Can they play a second land this turn? They can. A red mana. Wow. So they've reestablished their board quite nicely here after that Emrakul attack. And then they Boseiju our sneak attack. Not bad. We will fetch out a land from this. Good old Boseiju. So they've recovered quite nicely. We now need to find an answer to win. I mean, we have Coercive Portal, so I'm pretty happy with that. So I think I'd like to Coercive Portal here first before just playing out MINDSLAVER. Again, I'd rather play and crack MINDSLAVER in one turn, just because I don't want to just have it be open to artifact removal. So we'll cast the Coercive Portal. Our opponent plays a tapped Watery Grave and gets in there for 2. All right, we will vote homage on our Course of Portal vote. All right, we get a Burgi and a Kuldotha Forge Master, which we can play. Can't quite play both of those, unfortunately. I think I'd rather play the Horn, though, because that'll be a lot of card selection. Let's ditch the Kuldotha. I was kind of looking for a land. We hit Emrakul and Ulamog. Can't play those. So that's fine. So those cards are now exiled. So good to remember. And we'll just pass the turn back now. Our opponent untaps, gets in there for 2, and then passes the turn back. I like that our opponent's not doing anything because it's really letting us get away with these shenanigans. All right, so we get a Duress. I mean, we just have so many cards now because we have the horn. Let's ditch the land. There's 2 mountains. Let's play it. That's 8 mana, so we'll just Duress our opponent. I'm really just worried about... Oh, okay, so they have an Emrakul and Acidic Slime. I was going to say, I'm really just worried about Natural Order. So looks like our Horn is going to get slimed next turn. And Mindslaver doesn't really do anything with the cards they have. So let's just ditch Mindslaver to the Horn and see what we exile. We exile a Gonti and a Chrome Mox. So let's play Gonti. And ooh, all right, our opponent is up to shenanigans. They have a Bolas Citadel. Wonder if they're like some Storm deck. We'll take Bolas' Citadel, and we can cast that next turn. And we have a decent amount of life to use it. I guess we'll just get this Chrome Mox on the battlefield as well, and we'll pass back. So our opponent likely going to play their Acidic Slime here. Are they going to hit the Horn, or are they going to hit Coercive Portal? Little do they know that we can likely play Bolas' Citadel next turn. All right, they're going to take out the Portal. And let's see what we draw here. I mean, we can attack with Gonti. They are at 3. Ooh, we draw a Sundering Titan, and we have 8 lands. So they have a lot of land types on their side of the battlefield, so this is going to be really painful for our opponent. We can blow up 4 of their lands. That'll probably end the game, I would assume. Go back down to almost no lands again. We've really destroyed a lot of their permanents this game. 10? We've destroyed 10 of their permanents with enter the battlefield and attack triggers. It's pretty good. We'll get in there with Gonti. They will block with their Acidic Slime. Good block. And our opponent's sticking in this. I like their, stick-to-itiveness there. They play a Savai Triumph. Okay, and they're going to pass. Okay, so that was game 1. Kind of crazy. Jumping into game 2, no changes from the sideboard. We'll keep this starting 40 the same. Hopefully we can get a better starting hand here than game 1. And that's definitely not it. So Mulligan getting fed again. This one going to the cat. This one, I think we can keep. We have Magda, which can make treasure tokens, and the Mishra's Workshop can actually help cast the Horn on the other side of Burgi. Let's put this Ulamog back, and we're going to plan to lead out on Magda here. All right, tapped Watery Grave from our opponent. We draw a Mountain, so we'll just play a Mountain and pass. Again, planning to play Magda next turn. We can't cast the Horn next turn as the Horn costs 5. All right, and then Island from our opponent pass. So let's play Magda. I'm really glad we're not playing against aggro here because our opponent's letting us have all the time we need. Magda resolves, which happy to see, as that can ramp us into Chandra next turn. All right, at our end step, our opponent Mystical Tutors for Mind's Desire. All right, yeah, definitely some shenanigans going on, some Storm shenanigans from our opponent. All right, get Probe. A little less embarrassing this time with our hand. Into Black Lotus. Okay. Storm count 2. We know they have a Mind's Desire in hand. Are they going to Mind's Desire for 3 here? Yep, they're going to Mind's Desire for 3. All right, let's see what our opponent gets. Forest. Ketria Triumph. Zagoth Triumph. Man, that's a miss. Oh man, that is no bueno for opponent. That costs them their Black Lotus and Mind's Desire. So we will plan, we can get Horn down right now. And we can get in with Magda. There's just no reason to get Chandra down as it doesn't really do much. I'd rather just get the Horn down. Like our opponent doesn't have a creature to kill or anything like that. And we're not going to discard the horn right now as we don't really have a Mox in or anything. We have a Chrome Mox, but we're kind of tapped out. Next turn, though. Next turn is going to be awesome. All right, opponent. What is in store for turn 4? Verdant Catacombs comes down. And they crack it. Now, 2 of their Triomes are in exile right now, so I don't know what they're going to fetch out here. Just a green source, okay. Wall of Roots again. All right. 2 cards in hand from our Storm opponent, which is not super scary. We draw a Swamp, so let's ditch a Mountain to the horn here and see what else we got going on. Infernal Grasp and Swamp. We can play the Swamp, and let's ditch 1 more Mountain. All right, now we got a Braid and Emrakul. All right, so Emrakul's going to go to exile as we have no way to cast her. So we can get Chandra down as well. Uptick Chandra for red. And we can use this a Braid to kill the Wall of Roots if they block our Magda. Now let's attack with Magda. We'll make a treasure token. We'll see if they block or not. If they don't block, then okay. Then we'll just uptick on Chandra to exile. They do block. Okay. So this makes our Braid live. Like, our opponent should know what's exiled here. So I guess they know that we're going to cast a Braid. And I'm happy to get the Wall of Roots off the battlefield again. Scared of the Natural Order. Okay, so they thirst for discovery in response before Wall of Roots leaves the battlefield. And they discard a land. Draw an extra card there. And we'll have to pass a turn. Assault Monolith, okay, getting some manas. And they pass back. Again, awfully nice. Ooh, okay, Goblin Welder. How can we abuse this? Let's uptick on Chandra. Gilded Lotus. We definitely want to play that, especially with Mishra's Workshop on the battlefield. Super easy to cast that. So Gilded Lotus can come down. I think we ditch another land here to the horn. We get a Grim Monolith and a Mountain. So we can play both of those, and I want to play both of those. So we definitely have the ramp going here. Now we just need to find one of our fatties, one of our win conditions. And yeah, we can exile 1 more here. So we get a Vampiric Tutor. So let's cast this Vampiric Tutor so we don't lose it. What do we want? I think we want the Mindslaver. Since we have Goblin Welder on the battlefield, we can basically Mindslaver lock our opponent. So Magda can attack, make treasures, and we can play Mindslaver, crack Mindslaver, and then tap our Goblin Welder, sacking a treasure token to put Mindslaver back into play. So we have them on Mindslaver lock next turn. Just got to get to next turn. All right, our opponent's doing something. They Cabal Ritual with Threshold. 10 mana for our opponent. Regrowth. They regrowth their Mind's Desire. Nice. Okay, so now they Mind's Desire for 3 again, hitting Forest, Godless Shrine, Emrakul. Oh no. All right. 2 players playing Emrakul, and they're gonna. So this counts as casting. So they are going to get another turn from this. We're 18, so we're not dead yet. And now we are facing the Annihilator 6. All right. Oh, how the tables have turned. We have a lot of permanents on the battlefield. I'm wondering if we can sack enough things here to survive. Our opponent plays Mirari's Wake as well. So facing down a 16-16 Emmy. We know we're drawing Mindslaver next turn. Can we still Mindslaver lock our opponent? Because if we don't, we lose this game. It's all going to come down to what we have to sack. So definitely don't need Chandra. Definitely don't need the horn. We can sack this treasure token because we'll make more. We need 10 mana though. So we'll have 6 between the Gilded Lotus and the Grim Monolith. And then 3 more on the Mishra's Workshop. So that's 9. So that means we can sack 3 lands. And that'll leave 10 mana. We could sack 4 lands if we need to and make another treasure token with Magda attack. So yeah, we can sack these lands. I think we can still do this. And our opponent's going to be super, super upset after Mind's Desiring into Emrakul and then getting Mindslaver locked. Let's attack with Magda. That'll make a treasure token. All right, so we'll cast Mindslaver and we'll activate Mindslaver here, targeting our opponent. And then we can also activate Goblin Welder, sacking our treasure token, putting our Mindslaver back into play. All right, now we're controlling our opponent's turn. Opponent holds a Night's Whisper and Utopia Sprawl, and they draw a forest. So Night's Whisper is good because I want to get more cards in their hand. I mean, they do have an Emrakul, which I can't really attack through. So we're going to have to figure out a way to just ruin our opponent's day here. So let's start with Night's Whisper. They draw a Mole Drifter and a Worn Power Stone. Okay, also evoke the Mole Drifter. You know, the fact that our opponent has Mirari's Wake on the battlefield, doubling all of their mana, is actually really handy right now. So we'll evoke my Mole Drifter. That'll get us 2 more cards. Oh man, this is crazy. What a game. Mindslaver into Emrakul. Ooh, we exile a Bolas's Citadel. All right, we'll play the land. We don't have enough black mana to cast Bolas's Citadel this turn. We can cast Utopia Sprawl for black, though this is probably a mistake because they have no red mana either. We should probably name red with Utopia Sprawl here, as we can still cast... Oh wait, no, we can cast Bolas's Citadel right now by doing it this way. Okay, so yeah, this allows us to cast Bolas's Citadel. They got a Golgari Signet on top. All right, we'll pay life for that. Okay, they're down to 7. I think we have a way... You know, a way we can try and win here. We can try to just Bolas Citadel our opponent to death. Ideally. Ideally, they don't have just like 5 lands on the top of their library. That'd be pretty bad. All right, obviously not going to attack ourselves here with Emrakul. Now we'll go to our next turn, and it's going to start with not casting Snuff Out, that's for sure, because we don't want to pay 4 life. Also, it can't kill Emrakul. So we'll just Mindslaver our opponent again. Man, our opponent must just be watching this with a bowl of popcorn, seeing how this thing's going to turn out. And then we're going to attack with Magda to make another treasure token. I expect our opponent to block with Emrakul, as that'll start to limit us on artifacts we can sack to Goblin Welder, but we'll attack, make another artifact, and we'll just sack it to bring Mindslaver back out again. Only in the Vintage Cube, ladies and gentlemen, only in the Vintage Cube is a game like this possible. Love it. Love it. Love me some Vintage Cube. These are the type of games that, we dream of because they're just amazing. All right, so we attack, we'll make the treasure token, and the opponent blocks as we expect them to. We will once again sack our treasure token to get Mindslaver back out. And now we're going to take our opponent's turn again. So they draw a land. See, and this is where I wish we had Faithless Looting. That'd be really handy. Let's play the land off the top of our library. And there's another, their library, there's another land. Oh no, okay. We went land, and we cannot cast Faithless Looting as we have no red mana right now. We'll just get the Worn Power Stone down, and we'll have to just pass the turn back. We still have a couple more Mindslavers we can activate. Sundering Titan, not gonna do it. We need to just Mindslave our opponent again. We also don't have the mana to cast it. Next, we'll plan to sack our Grim Monolith to bring Mindslaver back, and we'll be able to at least Mindslaver one more time. All right, so let's control our opponent's turn again. All right, so we draw the island, and now they have an Oracle on top. So we can cast the Oracle with Bolas's Citadel, and hopefully that'll allow us to get through any more lands. Oh, right, and then they have a Dryad of the Elysian Grove. We'll just cast that for perfect. Man, got there. What a game. Mindslaver lock into using our opponent's Bolas's Citadel to get them down for lethal. This is after our opponent Mind's Desired into an Emrakul, the Aeon's Torn, took another turn, swung at us for 16 because of the Mirari's Wake. Wow, what a game. Thanks for chilling with me here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.